I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Monday, April the 3rd, brought to you in part by Macrocin, which is a telithromycin injection with proven efficacy at an affordable upfront price. Without any BS, end of story. For more information, go to macrocin.com. Also, Joplin Regional Stockyards, another big run for them, expecting about 8,000 head with a lot of yearlings, and most of them will be in load lots. So if you guys are interested viewing that sale and bidding too, if you get approved for that, go to dvauction.com. Sale will start early. They'll be on bunches for sure by 8 o'clock in the morning. Are we at a peak or a plateau? What are we climbing here? This market has just been going straight up here of late. And then you're already starting to worry about when it's going to end. You know, we're just now really enjoying it, and people are already starting to worry about, if this thing's getting top heavy, or, if we're climbing this like on a chart, are we going to climb it? We get to the peak and then we go back down the other side, or is it a plateau where we can maintain these high levels for quite some time? I'm not for sure, but I think we're still climbing. So I don't think we have to worry about it for a bit. We're still climbing. We're still gaining. We still have extremely tight supplies of market-ready fed cattle. We've got extremely tight supplies of feeder cattle, and even tighter of stalker cattle. So we're still climbing. Now, I think we should be able to maintain those prices, and whatever they're going to be. We are very near all-time record high fat cattle market. In fact, we got some 173 on Friday. We didn't see it through the week up through Thursday, but did see 173 paid on Friday. That's as high as cattle have ever been. That's as high as a fat cattle have ever been. It was more established the last time we did it back in 2014. But, they haven't been any higher than that. So we're breaking new ground. We don't even know how to act on that. Now, we've got a long ways to go before we reach record high prices of feeder cattle, and especially calves. Feeder cattle, we could sure go another $20 higher before we get to all-time record levels of feeder cattle. And calves, especially light calves, grazing type calves, they could go another $1 a pound higher, or maybe $1.50 higher. We were selling lightweight calves, in the $4 range back in 2014. Of course, back then we had a plentiful feed, plentiful forage. It had been wet around. There was all kinds of silage to feed. There was lots of stockpiled hay around. Grains were so much cheaper. Everything was just a lot more beneficial to the feeder and the calf market than what it is right now. It's costing $1.50 a pound to put one of those pounds on. At least now we are looking at some cheaper cost of gains once we get into the new crop corn. And the new crop corn is roughly $1 cheaper than what your prices are right now on spot corn. But that's going to help at some point. But you never know what's going to happen between now and then. It's all going to hinge on the weather. And there's some dry spots where we grow a lot of corn that we need some. There's some spots that are still covered with feet of snow. And that is trickling in and starting to melt. And that's going to give some good subsoil moisture, which will give us a good start. But we're likely going to be late getting that crop in this year because we've had so many late storms, and it's still snowing around up in the northern plains and parts of the Midwest. So even though it's getting hot down here in the southern plains, at times, they're not done with winter yet, even though the calendar says that it's supposed to be spring. But let's talk about your board for last week. April live cattle futures. Monday was up $1.90. Tuesday was up a nickel. Wednesday up 87 cents. Thursday up 172. And then Thursday, the 30th of March, was the big banner day that we talked about on our last visit. And like I said, we'll probably remember that day for quite a while. Friday was up some more, up 80 cents on Friday, which your futures have been chasing cash and not quite able to do it on the fat cattle level. Now on the feeders, they've been running at a premium. But April live cattle futures ended the week at 168.35. That was a gain of $5.35 for the week last week. June live cattle ended the week at 162.12. That gained $5.52 for the week. So big gains on your fat futures. We're likely trading our cash at just a little bit of a premium to what April is. Our 5-area weighted average is going to be a little bit better than that. So we're not seeing any basis right now. So that's good. We don't want to mess up the leverage that the few negotiated sellers have in this fat cattle cash market. April feeder cattle, March left the board. April feeder cattle, Monday was up 282, Tuesday was down 40 cents, Wednesday up 97, Thursday was the big day, up 170, Friday up another 92 cents, with April feeder cattle ending the week at $200.82. That was up 602 for the week and trading at a big premium to what your index levels are right now for cash feeders, but they're going to continue to get higher. So May feeder cattle ended the week at 205.25. That was a big gainer too. Look at your grains. May corn futures ended the week at 660.5. That was up 17.5 cents. My goodness. And then December was up 6 3/4 cents at 566.5 at the end of the week trading there. May beans ended the week at 1505.5, up 77.25, gained almost twice what it lost the prior week when we thought, all these beans from Brazil was going to hurt the market, and it did there for a few days, but then it bounced right back. November new crop beans ended the week at 13.19 3/4. That was up 46.5 cents. Wow. Fat cattle trade through Thursday, and we had such an active Thursday, guys. 72,300 head, gangbuster fat cattle market. Just gave us, just a comforting feeling about what little negotiated trade we have now. You guys that just sit and you take the formula sales, you just contract your cattle in there. You just call and schedule them in, and you're riding on the coattails of all the guys that negotiated trade. Buy them a steak dinner, buy them a whiskey drink, buy them something good. Tell them thank you for what they did for you. I fear that we are going to lose this negotiated trade. They say within a couple of years we could completely lose it in Texas, and they didn't even trade 8,000 in Texas this past week, even though it was dollars and dollars higher. But we've got to cling to what little negotiated trade we have. That's why I keep pushing Cattle Price Discovery and Transparency Act, guys. If we don't get that, if we don't force the packers to continue to act, be active in negotiated sales, how are we going to ever see markets like we saw on Thursday? And you guys that haven't sold any cattle negotiated for a long time, are you just going to sit and let it go away? Do you think there's ever a time that packers are going to give you $5 more in 1 week if you don't have negotiations? Hell no, guys. You just go back. Whenever we lost the hogs is when we lost the negotiations. And when we lost the negotiated trade, they just take it over. Everything's contracted up. You guys are on those formula deals. You might be sitting pretty right now at $2 over the market. But what happens when there's no market? It's just whatever they dictate to you. It's what you're going to take. Let's talk about your live sales last week up through Thursday. 164 to 172. A lot heavier on the high side of that than the low. But that was $3 to $5 higher, or actually $2 to $5 higher than the previous week. Weighted average on live steers up through Thursday was about 168.64, about 4 1/4 higher than the previous week's weighted average, but we'll see what it's going to be after we get a little bit more trade on Friday put in there. But it was higher than that, so it's going to be closer to 170 than what I just gave you. Dress sales 266 to 275 last week, $3 to $7 higher. How would you do that? How would you get a market like that with no negotiated sales? Your dress weighted average on steers 270.36, up $5.29 on your weighted average on dress steer sales, guys. Huge. Traded a little more cattle on Friday, but last week, basically, your Northern Plains sold live cattle from 170 to 172, and dress sales from 270 to 272. Southern Plains, everything up through Thursday was 167, but guess what? We got a little more on Friday. Iowa, 1,800 head on Friday, 27,700 head for the week. Live sales on Friday, 170 to 173. We hadn't seen the 173 until Friday, through negotiations, and confirmed 173, guys. Highest prices paid at the very tail end of the week. That bodes well to gain another $2, $3, $5 this week. And I think we certainly could if nobody trips up, and if the weak sisters quit bailing out so early in the week just because they're selling the cattle high. It's your turn to make some money. Enjoy it. Dress sales 268 to 272 in Iowa on Friday. Nebraska sold 5,000 head, or 500 head, on Friday. 25,500 head for the week. Pretty good movement for them. But you notice these packers have cleaned up all the Northern Plains. They're wanting those higher grading cattle. Kansas's cattle are grading really well too, but they have cleaned up the Northern Plains, and the Northern Plains is where we've got tight supplies of market-ready cattle. After this past week, now they're even tighter. They are extremely current and getting green, but they feed a little bit better cattle up there. They feed them a little bit harder than they do in the Southern Plains, and they grade just a little bit better than Kansas, quite a bit better than Texas. But they've cleaned that up now, guys. So what are they going to do now? They're going to be even shorter bought. The needs are going to be greater than they've been. We better get determined to just squeeze as much out of this market rally as we can. But Nebraska sold live sales from 169 to 170 on Friday and 272 dressed. Kansas didn't have any sales on Friday, 14,000 for the week, almost all of them at 167. Texas sold 400 head of good cattle on Friday, just 7,700 head for the week, but the Friday sales were 168, guys. 168. That's a buck better than everybody traded on Thursday. And I think this thing's got a lot of legs under it. I think we'll gain quite a bit of ground this week. I heard in the Northern Plains they were bidding as much as 178 for 3 weeks out. Well, if they're wanting to give 178 now for 3 weeks out, they must think the market's going to be even higher than that next week. But we will break all-time record high prices for fed cattle this week on a direct basis. We'll set an all-new record there. Box beef cutout values were a bit lower on your weighted averages, but started to recover late in the week, and it's about time of the year for them to start moving up. But your weighted average on all of last week's choice cuts, 280.51, down 47 cents on your weighted average compared to the previous week. But late sales were about $1.50 better than that weighted average at 282 and change late on Friday afternoon. Select, your weighted average on all of last week's sales, 269.63, down 96 cents from your previous week's weighted average. But late week sales were about $1 better than that weighted average. Your slaughter was good last week too. They're needing to increase the slaughter because the weights are down. They've already promised a lot of that product out there. They're going to be pushing down on the gas and turning those chain speeds up with harder to find cattle out there, which it's going to bode well. There's no telling how high this market's going to get, guys. Slaughter, 651,000 last week, 25,000 more than the previous week, 12,000 more than the same week a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. A lot of people like the top quotes on the feeder cattle at the end of these feeder flash reports, and a lot of people I know just fast forward to that because you don't want to hear all my BS that happens but from the start till you get to those. But for you sale barns that want to have your market quoted on there, don't play any favorites. Yes, I'd love it if you guys broadcast with DV Auction, but a lot of you don't. A lot of you broadcast with one of our competitors, which is absolutely fine. Still want to brag about your market if you would allow us to. And some of you don't want to broadcast at all. We can still receive your markets and your quotes electronically if you have a clerical system on a computer. There's several companies that have clerical systems and work with a lot of the sale barns around. We work with all of them. So if you just get a hold of us, that information's out there in the cloud. We can pull it down if you will allow us to do it. We're not going into your system. You're pushing it out to us. And we would love to sign some more of you guys up. We've got probably 250 sale barns information going in to our database right now called Cattle Market Central. That's where I get my quotes. That's where I get the top quotes for the day. If you guys want to get in there, we sure want you. So get a hold of us and let us know your information, and we will get it all tied up, and it doesn't cost you a thing. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DV Auction, and that comes through that database on all your 7 to 899 pound cash auction steers up through the middle 12 states. Ended the week at 191.81. That was up $2.82 compared to the end of the previous week on a 7-day moving average. Pretty darn good. Now the CME all of a sudden has really taken off. CME cash feeder cattle index at 193.34. All the market reporters that put that stuff in now have accepted the fact that the market's a lot higher, and now if cattle sell a little bit off those highs, they just don't put them in. That's why you're seeing their index average a lot higher than ours. We put everything in. The hell of it is, those cattle that don't bring the extreme top prices, they're getting fed too right down the alley from the ones that reach the top prices. But that's the way our index works. But it usually tracks really, really well. Let's talk about your cash feeder trends in your sale barns last week. $2 to $5 higher for the most part. True stockers, your old crop calf weight yearlings, sharply higher where you found them. But they've sopped all those up, guys. They're getting ready to be turned out on the Flint Hills here in a couple of weeks. The Flint Hills have been absolutely on fire, literally, for the last week or 10 days. And man, that fresh new tender grass is going to be coming up here about the 15th of April, right as they turn those cattle out, and it's a beautiful thing to see. But your new crop calves were a little bit uneven, and of course that just goes whenever you start seeing them come in. Some of them that are fleshy and balling, which I don't know what they were feeding them if they were fleshy. I guess just mother's milk. But those are harder to sell than the long wean calves, and there's just a little bit of unevenness there. But everything's selling really well. Give you some sales from all around. How about our best Saturday quote that we get from Fort Scott Livestock Market in Fort Scott, Kansas? 1,600 head of feeders there for them. The market, and you can see the trends compared to the weighted average from the previous week, were sharply higher, except for some 6-weight steers and 7-weight heifers, where that weight group was lightly tested. It's the only reason that they weren't as much higher as some of the other weight groups. But included in there, and one that I thought was very impressive, was 270 head of 8-weight steers sold in Fort Scott on Saturday. They averaged 841 pounds. This is all of them together with a weighted average price of $194.06. Wow. How about your Zoetta stick-out sale of the day? Was Lexington Livestock Market in Lexington, Nebraska. 3,500 head there. Market was roughly $2 to $8 higher. Look at your best tested weights on this automated market report through Cattle Market Central. 677 head of 7-weight steers, average 761, weighted average price 207.97. Wow. How about 455 head of 8 weights, average weight 860 pounds, weighted average price 198.42. Look at some heifers, 354 head of 6-weight heifers, average 631, weighted average price 202.63 on 6-weight heifers, guys. And 346 head of 7-weight heifers had a weighted average price of 188.28. Heck of a sale there at Lexington, Nebraska. Give you some individual quotes from around. How about Burwell Livestock Market in Burwell, Nebraska? They broadcast with DV. 124 head, 805 pound steers bring 205. How about Bluegrass Stockyards? All their locations are DV auction broadcasters, but I want to talk about Bluegrass Stockyards of Campbellsville, Kentucky. Not the biggest location there, but they can sell them awful good too. Had a lot of dairy type steers there. These Holsteins were value added. They had 62 head of them, weighed 874 pound. Holstein steers bring 150 and a half. Woo. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere late last week or over the weekend, and your Mackerson no BS top quote for the day, comes out of Todd and Jeff Weichert's Stanton, Virginia Union Stockyards. These cattle were Jimmy Callison's cattle from Summerdine Farms. He's been selling cattle at Stanton for 25 years almost, guys. Every calf crop. How about 77 head of steers in Virginia, weighed 644, all home raised, bring 251 and a quarter. Wow. And that's your feeder flash for Monday.